Now it's time to create a legacy now. You had your fun. Now get to work.
Because if you sit down, you're not going to get back up. No excuses.
Get back to fucking work. It's time to get back to work.
But when you really want something, you're gonna get it. There's no excuses.
No excuses in everything. You eliminate that, everything changes. You embrace accountability, and it's game over in life.
I had to work harder than they did.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm willing to do.
And I will always outwork you because I love the game more than the stuff.
They may be more talented, they may be smarter, but they won't outwork me.
But I just work harder.
So after games, I'm like, hey, Kobe, like, why were you in the gym for so long? He's like, because I saw you come in. And I wanted you to know that it doesn't matter how hard you work, that I'm willing to work harder than you.
I will outwork you. I will make it possible.
The real man says, like, I'm not gonna make no excuses. I'm not gonna point the finger and say, Lewis, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I'm gonna take full ownership, full responsibility.
Biggest problem that you have had is not that you don't have resources. It's not that you don't have supporters. It's not that somebody doesn't believe in you. It's that you have not believed in you. Get your head in the game. Stop sleeping on yourself.
Because if you do that, if you actually work as hard as you can, you have no excuses.
You have to accept that all your excuses are lies. You're too tired, or you're too sore, or you're just plain not feeling it, and it doesn't stop if you don't make it stop.
I want you to spend all your energy on overcoming your weaknesses, because behind every weakness you overcome is another level of success. Whatever that goal is, whatever that insurmountable feat has been, whether it's weight loss, financial, mindset, relational, I don't care what it is, career, to be a CEO or an investor, whatever it is, get it done. This is not the year you sleep on yourself. Every year you have not gotten it done, it's because you're sleeping on yourself. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up!
I still have to fight every day. So there's no excuse. There is no reason. There is no ifs, ands, or buts.
What will it take for you to make it happen?
You know, you got to take ownership of what's going on in your life. When you're not where you want to be, and you say it's because the boss doesn't like you, or it's because the girl treated you this way, or the guy did this, like all those things, you got to take ownership of them. And if you're blaming all these other external things, you're not going to make any changes. And that's going to be a problem.
That's the problem too. If you're chronically rejected by people, it's often because of your own insufficiencies. You know, whether that's cowardice or lack of social skills or whatever it is, it's like, you can't just brush it off as, oh, well, you know, no one likes me, but really I'm okay. It's like, no, wrong. If everyone rejects you, there's probably something wrong. And it's probably deep and difficult, and it's going to be horrible to fix. And so, this isn't a trivial problem. It's not a trivial problem at all.
Todd, I'm sorry, all right? I screwed up. I know I screwed up. I don't know
great,
why.
Of course. Here it comes. You can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing shitty things and then feel bad about yourself like that makes it okay. You need to be better.
But yet you're fully committed to sabotaging yourself and your career. Then you're sitting back stressed out and depressed, wondering why. Why ain't things happening? That's the answer. I just gave it to you. It's about as real as it gets. The question is, what are you gonna do next week, 2 weeks from now? You're in your own way. You are the reason your career is not on the next level. Nobody else but you.
When you don't have a true appreciation and acceptance for who you are, and you allow yourself to be immobilized by fear, what happens in the process is that you begin to abuse yourself. You begin to sabotage your life, you begin to sabotage your dreams, you begin to unconsciously work against yourself. You become your own worst enemy. So what do you do about that? Well, you begin to realize that your dream and your gifts have so much meaning and so much value for you till your hunger for them will begin to push you past the fear. Your hunger to have them will give you a special drive.
You might be sitting there wondering if you're gonna wake up tomorrow and do the thing you said you would. But why on earth would you wonder? This thing you're so uncertain about is literally you. There's nothing in this world you have more control over than yourself. But if you decide to wake up every day, surrender that control to chance, I guess you'll be stuck wondering forever. This disconnect between you and you is unnecessary though. The pattern of hoping you fulfill the role of a better you and disobeying that desire every time is completely in your hands. It is a recipe for no self-respect. So there's some certainty within yourself that needs to be built. That's not gonna happen by accident.
If you look in the mirror and you ask yourself, what do you have to do to be successful? I promise you, your heart will tell you.
You've never looked at yourself in the mirror and said, you let you down. Until you get to that point, you let you down. You're not brave enough. You want to put it on somebody else. The reason why I'm not successful is because of my boss. Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I'm not getting up on time. I'm not going to work on time. I'm not putting in 120% when I'm at work. I let me down. You always want to blame other people. You want to hold other people to the fire, but you're not holding yourself to the fire. You just said you're giving 50%. You owe you an explanation. You owe you an explanation. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, why are you only giving 50%? What's wrong with you? You need to put yourself on punishment. You need to tell you no more TV, no more snacks, no more desserts, no, we working out now. No more alcohol, not right now. No, I can't handle it right now. You need to tell you that you owe you something.
This is you versus you.
Most of us, we live in a box. And we don't want to go outside that box at all, ever. Outside that box is all these possibilities of life. What we do is we shackle our mind. We are a prisoner in our own mind that this is all I can do. This is all I'm good at. And we take away the possibilities of you could be this, you could be that, you could be all these things. And I never thought at 300 pounds I could be Navy SEAL.
Wow.
So if my mind was shackled, me and you would never meet. There'd be no book.
Right.
There'd be no book.
Right.
There'd be nothing. So what people understand is that they live for themselves, not knowing that you have the power within yourself to change millions of lives by facing life, by facing yourself.
If you're struggling, if you're frustrated with yourself, if you're at that point where you're so sick of yourself and your excuses, I've been there, Stephen's been there. This is a normal part of the human experience. And at some point, either the pain is going to get big enough, or you're going to bump into somebody's story somewhere on this planet who has been in the position that you're in right now, facing the stuff that you're facing right now. And there is something about their story at this exact moment in time that will ignite something in you that is missing. And what is missing in you right now is hope.
If you set your own value by what you believe about yourself, if you think that you're worthless, if you're not very good at it, other people pick that up.
It doesn't matter what lifestyle you have. It doesn't matter what walk of life you have. No matter what you do, if you allow excuses to tell you what to do, then ultimately the excuses have more control of you than what you have of yourself. So get up, work hard, put some effort into what you want out of life, because all you have is you. All you have is what you have inside. Don't wait for somebody to tell you what to do. You know what you need to do. Get out there and get it done, because that's ultimately what it's going to take. You have to have the courage, the will, and everything you have inside to get to the level and beyond the level you want to be. Life does not stop until they put you in the ground, my friend.
Strong mind is a catalyst for change. When you see the best athletes in the world either perform really well or, on the other hand, completely bomb out, it's because of that muscle that lives between the ears.
It's interesting to me that the comfortable route is seen as the safest path. but the undeniable disappointment that comes from giving up the ideals of the true self doesn't seem so safe to me. Don't indulge in the comfort that comes before effort, because that comfort is nothing but a lie.
So what kinds of things, what kinds of thoughts are you feeding your consciousness? What kind of things are you putting in your mind that will enable you to either move forward or to justify why you're staying where you are?
What really breaks my heart is how stuck people are. And that there are things you can do to change your life for the better. And if you don't have hope and you don't have this breakthrough where you have for just a millisecond this insight where you go, well, what if things did work out? If you don't have that moment, most people stay so stuck in resignation.
So it's time to come face to face with pain. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, how much more can you take? Because what hurt you, what tried to cripple you and kill you only made you stronger.
You have the capacity to whatever comes up, to handle it, to face it. And rather than feeling powerless, you begin to feel powerful.
My content creators, my entrepreneurs, my musicians, come on, my keynote speakers, my captains of industries, my CEOs, from the captain to the cashier, there is more in you. Stay-at-home father, stay-at-home mother, lawyer, doctor, hygienist, author. I don't know who you are, where you're from, but there's more in you. You may be hurting. You may be dying on the inside, but you still got life left.
You wouldn't have suffered enough. I've been suffering all my life. I'm sorry. It's not enough.
The amount of suffering that you understand, the amount of pain that you've gone through makes you appreciate the happiness and the beautiful moments with much more intensity.
You know what it's like to be poor, and you know what it's like to work hard. And you will want so much for them to like you, and they just won't. And it'll break your heart. And that'll make your heart bigger and open your eyes, and finally you will realize that there's more to life than proving you're the smartest person in the world.
This whole thing about suffering, yeah, it sucks. Really bad. Really, really bad. But we all live on this side of suffering. On this side. This nice box that's very comfortable, that we know when everything's gonna happen. We're in it, it's good. We know how everything's gonna turn out. It's those few people who are willing to go on this side of suffering. And once they get through that, ask him how he feels now. His mind, how far he grew. In that short period of time, he grew so much more than the normal person because he was willing to go outside himself. Because on the other end of suffering is greatness.
We're built to walk uphill. And when you reach the pinnacle of the hill, you want to stop and appreciate the vision, but the next thing you want is a higher hill in the distance, because it's the uphill climb that it's from the uphill climb that we derive our value, and I mean this technically. So almost all the positive emotion we feel, that's experienced in relationship to a goal. And so in some sense, you want a goal that you can never attain, right? So you can always move closer to the goal that recedes as you move towards it. You think, well, that's frustrating. It's like Sisyphus pushing the rock uphill. But it's not, because as you pursue that goal, you put yourself together and your life does get better and richer and more abundant. You want them to be above everything you're doing so you can continually move towards something that's more sublime and better. That's what you are. You're here to live, not to sleep.
Because you wouldn't have prayed like you pray had you not been hurt. You wouldn't love like you love had you not been hurt, because you know what it's like to hate somebody. So you refuse to go down that path.
Feelings has nothing to do with it. This is my dream. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do the things that I don't feel like doing. I'm going to do the things I don't want to do. I'm going to do the things that don't come easy to me, that do not come natural to me, I'm gonna get up and do it. You can't live your life on feelings. You cannot let your feelings dictate what you are or are not going to do today.
You don't get that fire inside to make it happen out there until you go to the fire in here.
Leaving it all here, expecting it all out there. That's how it works. When you leave it all here, guys, you then have the right to expect it all out there. It doesn't work the other way around. You can't half-ass it here and expect anything but a half-ass life out there.
You know, it doesn't get easy, my friend. Running 12 plus miles a day, doing 800 plus push-ups a day, lifting weights every single day, working 2 jobs, working out of my comfort zone at the club. But it's worth it. Because if you think it's about fitness, you're wrong. If you think it's about the money, you're wrong. Because it all goes back to one point. One important point, my friend. I'm in it for the mentality. The mentality to keep going, no matter what happens.
Nothing should be easy. If it's easy, it's not going to be worth doing. So many people love to have the opportunity to find the easy way out and celebrate something that they never really worked hard to get. It gives you an opportunity to appreciate the challenges more, the letdowns, the failures. It gives you more ammunition so when you do eventually get to where you want to be, just in case that moment comes and you get knocked back down, you understand what it feels like, and you know you're not going to stay down for very long because you know what that ground feels like.
This life is relentless. You better keep coming back from all your failures, all your doubts, all your shit. You better keep fighting, keep getting up. Never lay down for shit. That's one thing we should all agree on. If you've been broken once, you know how that feels. That means try and break me again. One thing in life, suffering has no expiration date. It don't give a if you're black, white, poor, rich, where you come from, how you were raised. It will keep coming after you. Stay hard.
It hurts when we're lifting these weights and we're trying to accomplish a goal. It hurts. It's painful. It's daunting. It's cumbersome. I don't want to do it. I'm sweating. I'm bleeding. I'm crying. I'm suffering. But after I've suffered, there is a reward. So we spend too much time thinking about how bad it hurts instead of how good the future will be after the pain. And so after the blood, after the sweat, after the tears, after I've cried all I'm gonna cry, I want to use the pain to my advantage.
At what age should you have everything together? For us normal people, it takes time. Because not only do you have to mature and grow, there's things in life that if you have a big enough dream, you're not the person you need to be right now to fulfill that dream. Now you keep moving towards it. You keep doing what needs to be done. But at the same time, you realize that you yourself are gaining in knowledge and in experience and in personal growth.
Do you still struggle with all of the shit you talk about?
Oh my God.
Like,
yes. That's why I'm so fucking relatable. I do not have this stuff figured out. I am shoulder to shoulder with everybody.
They look and see, and then are quick to judge your ability. But they weren't there. They weren't there through the struggle. They weren't there through the sleepless nights. They weren't there through the pain. They weren't there through the trauma. They weren't there through the tears. They weren't there to pick you up. You did that. So what gives them the right? What gives them the right to judge you? They don't know your ability, my friend. They don't know what you're capable of. They don't know what you can do. So you find a way to push through. You find a way to keep going because nobody can tell you anything when you're the one who dragged yourself out the dark. When you're the one who dragged yourself back into the light, my friend.
They have no business in your business. So you keep going.
We all gonna go through it. We all have to go through it, including myself. I'm gonna tell you something. When you are doing everything in your power to be the best makeup of yourself, it's always gonna be an adversary that's gonna try to take that away from you. Now, the best way you can overcome this is having the faith. Now, it doesn't matter what you believe in, as long as it's something that's positive, that's gonna get you through it.
Imagine if you could use pain as a fuel. Imagine if you could use the pain as a passport. Imagine if you could use the pain to push you, to condition you, to prepare you for the stages and the rooms you gotta walk into and the tables you gotta sit at and the stages you have to stand on. What if the pain could make you better? What if the pain could build muscle? What if the pain could cause you to reach higher, to leap farther, to run faster? What if the pain could help you? What if all pain isn't hurt, but it's help? I'm sick right now, my friends. That can't stop the grind. In a world where everybody is so comfortable and lazy, why don't you be the one to get uncomfortable? Why don't you be the one to take on the challenge? Why don't you be the one to never give up? Why don't you be the one to never stop? Why don't you be the one to never give in?
I want to introduce y'all to this very simple concept. That if you want it, you got to go get it. Some of y'all got this concept of what you want to accomplish. You know, some of y'all are motivated by broke. I'm broke, I'm stuck, I'm fucked up, I can't do nothing. Other folks are motivated by materialistic things. It's a very simple concept. If you want it, you gotta go get it.
How bad do you want this? If it's as bad as you want to live or breathe or sleep, whatever the hell it may be, I can work with you. But a lot of people, most people don't want it that badly, which is why they always ask the question, man, how did you get to where you are? You know how to do it. You know exactly how to be you or how to be me. You don't want to do it.
You know, there comes a day, man, everyone's gonna have this day. There comes a day where being average, being mediocre is just sickening to you. It's just sickening, it makes you wanna throw up. Because you've seen people with far less talent than you. As you're growing up with them, their childhood buddies, whatever else, they didn't have what you had. Yet now they're gonna become something that you haven't. There comes that day, it's either when you're young, you know, and it strikes you on the baseball field because you're sick of striking out, or it's when you get fired from your 5th job, you know, and your wife and kids are on your ass because you don't know how to support them anymore. There comes a day where push comes to shove, where being mediocre, being like average and shit just burns and sucks so much. You can't deal with it one more day, and you get off your fucking ass. And you create something that's always been there. It's always been inside of you trying to come out. But you've never wanted to unwrap it because there's too much fucking pain and commitment. It's time to unwrap the potential you can be. Superior, man. It's within you.
I'm not talented. It was life and death. Either you live or you die. Which one do you want, Tom? That was the decision. In the corporate life and in the gym. But if you want something bad enough, you can't let anybody tell you you can't do something. I'll repeat that. If you want something bad enough, you can't let anybody tell you you can't do something, not even yourself. A lot of days I'm like, oh, you can't do this, Tom. You can't be as quick as a 30-year-old on the computer. Bullshit! Let me show you. I mean, I would have arguments with myself. I could do it. People doubted me. I doubted myself sometimes too. But you know what? I watched Arnold fall down. Nobody remembers when he fell down. Arnold wasn't the glorified winner as he was in the first 70 through 75. He got up and became a famous film star. He became governor. He kept getting up and getting up. That's what it takes. To do anything successfully in life, you gotta want it as bad as you want to breathe. And if you want it that bad, If you're willing to give it that much, you get a big piece of what you want. And dreams do come true. Anything you want can happen and become a reality. I believe that sincerely, and I'll die on that thought.
I say I made a full commitment that I'm gonna go and be a bodybuilding champion. I made a full commitment that I'm gonna be in America. I made a full commitment that I'm gonna get into show business and I'm going to be a leading man. No matter what it takes, I will do the work. I will do the work over and over and over until I get it. And the same was in politics and everything like that. So to me, it is very dangerous to have a plan B because you're cutting yourself off from the chance of really succeeding.
One day I made a decision that enough is enough. I'm tired of being average. I'm tired. I'm tired of being good. I'm tired. I want to go to the dealership and buy the best car. I want to move to the nicest neighborhood. I want to fly first class. I want to go to Hawaii. I want to go to Australia. I made a decision. Enough is enough. It's showtime.
The hour is now for game changers to emerge out of obscurity and into victory. Take the throne with everything that you have in you.
Nobody cares where you started. Nobody's stopping you. There's nobody that's got to take your resume. There's no grades that matter. None of it. What matters is, are you willing to hustle? And how bad do you want it?
Master the 3 W's. You got to want it, you got to work it, then you got to win it.
I know that's right.
Now, how bad do you want it?
A lot of times people tend to get very comfortable with themselves and they're always celebrating the same victories over and over and over again. But the moment they get uncomfortable or they find themselves in a new environment, they either freeze up or they go back. You got to be the person that wants to go a little bit further in whatever it is that you're doing in your life. Remember, as you live, there is opportunity to be greater.
Dreams are that moment where you pick your head up and you get really quiet and you tune in to what your mind, body, and spirit is telling you. You kind of aim that inner compass out into the distance and you ask yourself, where do I want to go? Like if you think about 5 or 10 years from now, and the easiest way for me to figure out that is, who am I jealous of? That usually shows up a lot faster than who am I inspired by. Because jealousy is just blocked desire. You can't feel jealous of somebody unless you authentically want something for real that you think that they have. And the jealousy happens because you have somewhere in your psyche told yourself you can't have it.
That if you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famish or gulf, sickness or pain or body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim, you besiege and beset it, with the help of God you'll get it.
The only thing you care about when you're trying to breathe is to get some fresh air. That's it. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And I'm here to tell you, number one, that most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. Some of you love sleep more than you love success. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you've got to be willing to give up sleep.
The hour is now. I am your replacement. I am coming for the throne. I am coming for every room that you locked me out of. Every realm that I step into, I will dominate.
You cannot listen to the naysayers. Imagine, you go from studio executive to studio executive, from agent to agent, from manager to manager, and they all said exactly the same thing. Now that's very encouraging, isn't it? But you know something? I didn't give a shit. I didn't. Because I believed that I can be a leading man.
It doesn't matter how hard you work, I'm willing to work harder than you.
And I know every motherfucker ain't gonna do what I'm gonna do. That's how you level up.
Stop being average when your potential is crying to come outside and be more than that.
No one will outwork me. No one.
It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks.
Of course, talent without work is nothing.
You gotta be hungry. People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do.
There's no excuse not to be the hardest motherfucking worker in the room.
You have to want it.
Nothing changes if nothing changes, man. In order for something to change, there needs to be change.
They'd say, well, I'm afraid to make a change, and I'd say, well, that's okay. That's understandable. How afraid are you of not making a change? Let's make a little vision of that. You're 35, you hate your job. What's the consequence? You're not motivated, you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, you're starting to get depressed, you're getting bitter, you're getting resentful, you're getting cynical, you're amotivated at work, you're not doing a very good job, and you're starting to shrink. Now play that out for 10 years. You don't change it, you don't fix it. And what happens? You're going to be in the same situation, but 10 years older. And if you can't get out of that situation now, what the hell makes you think you're going to get out of it in 10 years?
You're only seeing what's in front of you. You're not seeing what's above you.
I can't change the beginning, but could I change the middle? Can I edit that story, rewrite that story, and change my entire life?
Everybody's so crippled by decisions, but you never know how the other thing worked out. Let me give you an example. Let's say you don't go to college and you start this business and you were 100% right and it's huge and you're doing so great. Yeah. But because you did that, you had to fly to America for a big meeting and your plane crashed and you died. That would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Or you think you're gonna go to college because it's a good experience and you'll meet people. You can meet people in a business. You're not gonna know. I think people overthink decisions. You'll never know what the alternative would have been. So just pick one and do it.
Change is inevitable. And you are either changing for the worse or changing for the better. You decide.
I hope I do not believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Now listen to me, guys. The transition's going to be hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. Go from being on the block, going to be a high school dropout, to getting a GED, the transition is not easy. So what happens? In order for you to go from one level to the next level, in order for any man to transit, listen to me, in order for any woman to transition, for any man to transition, the thing that they want must be greater than the thing they currently have. Listen to me very closely. I didn't come in here to tell you you're gonna finish school. I came to ask you what's next. I came to ask you what's next. For me, it's the Nobel Prize.
I always think about other people that's going through a tougher life than I am. What if I had to change places? Would I trade places? You know, there's something I would always say to people from time to time. If I could take out a piece of paper and write down my problems, and you could take out a piece of paper and write down your problems, and we exchange those papers, and I'm thinking I got such a tough life, and you may have a tough life, but I pick up your paper, the one you may have written on, and I'm looking like, wow, I thought I had it bad. And then the other person say, hey, you got it a lot better than I do. You know what I would do? I would say, give me my paper back. I'll take my problems back. The point that I'm saying is this: I didn't put myself in such a pity party position to where I felt, why me? Why not me? Why shouldn't I go through this? See, you have to know, and I believe this even more, there can never be anything good unless there's some bad along the way. There has to be a challenge. There has to be a struggle. There has to be some setbacks. You cannot think in your mind that that's all you're good for is the good things. How good are you when you're at your weakest point in your life? Where are you when you're at the down low of your life? Then what do?
You are either going to evolve or expire. See, everything changes. The economy changes, relationships changes. We change mentally and emotionally and physically, and you are either dying or you are either living.
How am I a different person than I was this morning when I woke up? The initial reaction would be, I'm not. It's only been like 12 hours. How could I be different? But if I really think about it, what do I now know that I didn't know before? What experiences have I had that my prior self hadn't had when I had just woken up? And if I actually think about it, just like gratitude, I'm creating the frame of my past. I actually can and do see that I am different than my past self, even 12, 13 hours ago, or the night before. And by appreciating that, I now acknowledge that I've changed, which increases my psychological flexibility. It allows me to see that I am not the same person, that I am growing, that I am evolving, which is really useful for then thinking of your future self as a different person.
You don't know. Like there's no time machine, there's no future machine. We're all over-analyzing everything. Like, how do you know? You don't. Like, this is why I keep trying to push people. The only thing that I know seems practical is, are you happy? Are you happy today? Feels like it's the right thing. Are you like, this is important. It's you can't analyze. Like, I didn't know that starting a YouTube show for my wine business was gonna be the reason that I was gonna have a huge investing career. I couldn't see that.
This 30 seconds is your life passing you by, an opportunity to change. It's your prerogative. You want to go down the path you have right now of your life and where it's going. Or do you see an alternate path that's not flatline, but climbing up an echelon of remembrance, a possibility where dreams exist, legacy exists, the possibility of change. So within the grasp of these hands, within the grasp of 30 seconds, it's within you. You had the will. You're here. I know you had the will. You have the intestinal fortitude. You have the want to change.
You only live once, so do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to fail.
How do you know true strength when you never tasted your weakness? When you never was down on your luck? When you were at the bottom? I had to ask myself. And I realized, you gotta go through this hell, man. This is it. Because as long as you're living, you gotta keep moving.
It all starts with a thought. But changing your thoughts is easy, it's free, can be instant. What's the point of making it complicated? How does that help anyone who says, well, I'm messed up and so hard to change and people can't change? It's like, well, that's not correct. Who taught you that? From the minute you're born, you're changing. Oh, it's long and arduous to recover. No, it isn't. Some people recover like that. Some people don't, but you could be one of the ones that changes your thoughts, changes your feelings, changes your actions after all.
When do you experience the positive emotion that's associated with happiness? The answer is, not when you've attained a goal, but when you're pursuing one.
Don't you realize excuses will kill you? It will destroy your well-being. And the more excuses you make, the less effort you're gonna give.
There's a million things I've done wrong. It's because I didn't do something that would have sent me somewhere else, but I have no idea. You don't know. You don't.
If you do not apply what you hear and it goes over your head, you will miss your moment.
Nothing changes if nothing changes, man.